Well, most farmers tend to think for you to get healthy, those massive healthy cabbages, that it all starts in the field after transplant. But they're totally wrong. It all starts here on the nursery bed, especially the first 21 days when you start your seeds on the nursery bed. This is where it all starts. If you want good results on your cabbages, this is where it all starts. Because if you get it wrong on this stage, your crops are going to get stunted even before you start. So what I'm going to be doing today is that I'm going to be showing you how I go about sowing my cabbage seedlings such that I get a very good germination rate and the seedlings that are quite a nice thick stem that can handle anything. So that's what I'm going to be showing you around how I go about sowing of my cabbage seeds to get healthy, perfect germination and healthy seedlings. So let's get growing. So you cannot just toss your seeds onto the soil, onto the dirt, and just hope for the best. So for a good nursery cabbage to have successfully healthy seedlings, you need to at least three things. That is a fine tilth, proper drainage, and nutrition for you to succeed on your nursery bed. So that's what I'm working on currently, trying not to clear off all the weeds, try to ensure that the soil here has a fine tilth, that now I can later on work on the nutrition, remove all the weeds, all the remnants, break down all the soil and ensure the soil is the fine tilth that resembles breadcrumbs, something similar to this. So you see how fine the soil is. There are no clumps at all. That now you can have, and again the bed is raised. So that works now on the drainage, raising the bed. I've sorted out the issue of the drainage, and then now once I'm done now with the refining the soil to a fine tilth, then I'll work on the nutrition. Put these drip tips to the side a little bit to allow me for some working area. So for the nutrition, what I'm going to be adding is some well decomposed goat manure. So you can either use compost or well decomposed goat manure. So a good recommendation is about a ratio of 2:1. A ratio between the goat manure or the manure, well compost manure or a compost. A ratio of about 2:1. That is the topsoil and the compost that you're adding up. So with this, in case here today, I'll be using some goat manure. Ensure that I evenly distribute it onto the bed properly. Yeah, just like that. Then again, ensure that I work it again. Ensure I break out any clumps. If it's well evenly distributed. Again, the idea is to work it again to ensure you have that fine tilth and slightly mix up with the topsoil. Yeah. So recommend that you raise your bed. The good thing about checking on your drainage by raising your bed is that you prevent the seedlings from being affected by dumping off, which is a serious fungal disease that affects seedlings and can easily, kill off your seedlings overnight. So that's more like it. That's how you go about preparing the bed. Get rid of all the weeds. Now, if by any chance you experience issues with pests or some stubborn weed, One trick I've seen working is you can pour boiling water a day before the sowing of your seeds onto your bed. What that does, it helps with getting rid of some of those seed and pests on your nursery bed, as well as some weeds as well. So that's some sort of sterilizing of the soil. So you have had any issues with the soil in terms of pest and disease, and consider sterilizing the soil by just simply pouring some boiling water in the nursery bed just a day before your sowing of the seeds. For now, let's get to our seeds now. So for you to have nice and healthy seedlings, precision really matters. You don't just broadcast your seeds anyhowly, because now what will happen is you just spread them, just broadcast them. What may end up is that the seeds might end up having crowded seeds, and what will happen is when the seedlings come up, they'll start fighting for the light, and that will result to having seedlings that are long and leggy as they try to fight for the light, and now that will have big seedlings that will not be viable during transplant. So for that, you make sure that really you're saying that precision really matters. How you do your seedlings, ensure that you properly space them out, that you can have healthy seedlings in the long. So what you'll do now is we'll make some drills onto the bed. Ensure that so that now where you just draw shallow lines, that we call drills, onto the bed, which is about the depth of that drill should be about a centimeter to a centimeter and a half, so in depth. Then not so much, don't go deeper than that. Slightly, you can just use a stick. In case even you use a stick to just drill, draw a line, a simple drill. They're saying should be about a centimeter or so deep, not much. Don't go deeper than that. Then when you're putting in your seeds, you try as much as to put your seeds about, if possible, a centimeter to 2 centimeters apart. I know this might feel it might feel tedious, but what that will help with, it helps with saving you the time when later on when the seedlings sprout. There'll be no need for for thinning them out later, and the seedlings will come up nicely, well spaced. So, and in the long run, we'll have healthy, strong with healthy seedlings that have a strong stem. So that's the idea. So ensure that you take your time, to drop your seeds nicely, but you don't have to come later on back to be doing the thinning out. Then after that, you lightly just cover them up. You can either use some sand, some fine sand, or just with the soil, just slightly dust them over, and with that you'll have done. That's how we go about now sowing of our cabbage seeds, to ensure that we eventually end up with healthy seedlings. So that's how you go about sowing of the seeds. Now from the sowing, what now remains is the management and maintenance of this nursery bed. So the key issues here now is watering. First thing to consider is now that the seedling now require a stable environment. Does not do well with fluctuations in temperature and so. So what you can do, you can consider mulching, and then now do your watering. For the watering, you can do a good drench with using our watering can also. But in my case already, because I already have drip tapes in place, that's actually why I even I made the drills along the drip tape. So for my seed bed, I'll be watering it using the drip tape. But you can use a watering can, but you do a slight shower. Don't If you're using a watering can, do a light shower. You don't make sure you don't drench. Don't drench too much. Don't flood the seed bed. Then, if you do the mulching, always ensure you be checking every day. Once you see those green loop, like now the seedlings have started sprouting, immediately remove the mulch so that now the seedlings can be able to see the light, sunlight, and now for proper germination and establishment. So and then for the watering, if you're doing you can do it either early in the morning or in the evening, but try as much as possible to avoid the hot sun, so that you during the watering, especially overhead during the hot sun, to ensure that you don't burn your seedlings. So that's the kind of management you're going to be having for your seedlings. So in my case here, just going now to let the water open through watering through the drip tips. So that's next to the beds that I've just the seedlings that I've just sown. I have some Swiss chard I've done earlier. So this is what I'm hoping for. You can see very nice germination rate. I've done some Swiss chard for I'm trying to set up a kitchen garden. See, they're nicely well germinated. They look quite healthy. So now what I need to do is do some weeding. You can see there are some weeds. So get rid of the weeds, and then I'll do some fertilization as well. Once I'm done with the weeding, I'll do some fertilization. But these are actually Swiss chard I've done earlier. So I'm hoping, even now for my cabbages that I've just sown, I'll get a nice germination rate and healthy seedlings as well. So, but here next to the Swiss chard, this is some cabbage left over from the previous. So what I've just sown, this is what I'm hoping to come up with. You can see how healthy, how strong the stem is, thick and strong, sturdy. See, these are leftovers from a previous batch of cabbages I had sown here in this bed. So there's a few that had remained, and you can see clearly how healthy, how thick the stem was, and the root. The crop had well developed root system. So see how sturdy it is. So even see, very strong, very sturdy. Yeah. So this is what I'm hoping for from what I've just sown. Get this strong, well rooted, and with this, get a good start with your cabbage seedlings. And most definitely, once you transfer them to the field, you're going to get a good result. So that's how I go about sowing my seedlings. Of course, there is another method I also do. If not on the nursery bed, you can opt to do your seedlings on a seedling tray, which is what I've also been doing as well. But this is just an easier way, even for a beginner farmer. Just on your nursery bed, no special equipment required. We'll see for the seedling trays, you need the trays themselves. You need some special planting media for the seedlings to do well, something like a pit moss or a cocoa pit. So that can be, at times for some, especially if you're beginning, it can be prohibitive to, for some farmers, and also the initial cost. But it's easier just on the land, whatever you have. Just sow your seed on the nursery. But this is what has been doing for ages, and you end up with good results. So we're hoping to get this in a few weeks' time from our cabbage that we've just sown, and then and a good harvest later on after the transplant. So thank you much for watching. Till the next one, happy farming.